All right, guys, so let's go ahead and pick up where we left off and finish up our Unit 3 study guide review. So we are on lesson number 6, erosion. So 16 asks us, which of the following is an agent of erosion? So we've got water, ice, gravity, humans, and then E says all of these are agents of erosion. So E is going to be our answer here because all of these will contribute to erosion. Now remember the difference between weathering and erosion. Weathering is the breakdown of rocks, and then erosion is the movement of sediment. So weathering is the breakdown, erosion is the movement. So water is definitely one of the biggest factors when it comes to erosion because it can easily pick up sediment and move them down rivers and streams just through the force of currents. Ice, so when we think about glaciers, as glaciers move, they can pick up sediments and move them. Gravity will contribute to erosion as well. So if you've got loose soil or sediments on a slope, gravity acts on that and will pull them down. And then humans as well. We definitely contribute to erosion through agriculture, also through things like deforestation and habitat destruction so that we can build our own housing. So all of these are agents of erosion. 17 asks us to provide one example of a geologic formation that was caused by erosion. And the hint here, one of these is a very famous tourist destination made by the Colorado River. So this is actually the Grand Canyon. So the Grand Canyon is the large rift within those rock formations that was formed by the Colorado River. So over time, the river moved, picked up those sediments that were eroded, and pulled them away and formed the huge canyon. Now you could have some other examples here, but the Grand Canyon is just one that's very well known. So how do humans contribute to erosion? So you could have some different examples here. So building houses, doing tilling and agriculture, mining, really there's so many things that we do. Deforestation, all of those can contribute to erosion through human action. Lesson 7 is human impacts. So we learned about mining, agriculture, and also urbanization, and we need to know the benefits and the drawbacks of each of those things. So 19 asks us, which of the following is a negative impact of urbanization? So A says fun nightlife, B is new jobs, C is increased pollution, D is a variety of restaurants, and E is the urban heat island effect. So there are two negative impacts there from urbanization, and that's going to be C and E. So nightlife is a benefit. New jobs are definitely positive. Having a variety of restaurants to eat at, that's also a good thing. But increased pollution can lead to respiratory issues with people who have asthma, and it can also lead to issues in the ecosystem itself. And then that urban heat island effect is when there's so much asphalt in an urban area like Charlotte that radiation is absorbed very easily, and the city tends to be a few degrees warmer than the area outside of it. So that is not a good thing. So C and E are both correct. 20 asks us which of the following is a positive impact of agriculture. So we're looking for something good. So A says overgrazing. Overgrazing is not good. That's when we allow our livestock, like cows, to eat too much grass. And then what happens is they will pull up the roots of the grass when they eat too much, and they will pull the roots up, and it can actually lead to erosion. Hypoxic waters for C, though that's when you have the excess algae growth, and then the bacteria come in to break down the decomposing algae, and they steal all of the oxygen in the water, and that leads to low oxygen. So we have dead zones where organisms can't live. That's not good. And the deforestation is negative. So deforestation will lead to an increase in CO2 in the atmosphere, and also decrease the amount of oxygen that's being produced. And it will decrease the overall productivity of an ecosystem. So the benefit here of agriculture is that we do get food crops for ourselves. So the answer here is going to be B. And then 21 says, which of the following is not a type of mining? So we've got surface, dwarf, subsurface, and in situ mining. And the answer there is going to be the dwarf mining. And when I was trying to think of an answer that was not a type of mining, I was thinking of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where the little dwarves go in and do the gem mining. So the answer there is B. And then finally, we needed to fill in this energy table. So we just did energy sources, so this should be fresh in your mind. But we just had to fill in the pros and the cons of coal, oil, natural gas, and nuclear energy. So remember, these are non-renewable energy sources, and you guys are working on that renewable energy source project for me. So here we are, starting on the left-hand side, we've got coal. So a pro of coal is that there's good or reserves. They will last for about 200 years. But then the cons, burning coal creates high pollution. So coal is the dirtiest of the non-renewable resources. Oil is efficient, meaning that you can get a lot more energy out of the same amount of oil than you can for coal. However, it still contributes to pollution and there are limited reserves. Remember, at our current rate, the reserves will last us about 30 to 50 years. But I tend to err on the side of caution and say that it will be less time. Natural gas is clean and inexpensive. Remember, we get oil and natural gas from drilling, and we get coal from mining. So natural gas is clean, or it's the cleanest of the fossil fuels, or one of the cleanest of the fossil fuels. It's inexpensive, but there is pollution and limited reserves. So I want you to see under the pros, we do have clean, and then under the cons, we have pollution. So it's kind of an oxymoron. When we say it's clean in terms of the pros, it means it's more clean than coal or oil, meaning that when natural gas is burned, it doesn't produce quite as much pollution as the coal and oil does. So again, cons of this are high pollution and limited reserves. Our natural gas reserves will last us about 100 years. And then last but certainly not least, we have nuclear energy. It is clean, meaning that there's no emissions, no atmospheric emissions. It only emits water vapor. And if all the safety measures are in place, it is safe. But some of the cons is that there can be toxic waste. So a byproduct of nuclear energy is toxic liquid waste that's radioactive. And remember, we talked about how we have to store those in drums out in the middle of the desert. And a meltdown can be catastrophic. It can kill people with radiation poisoning, and also give people cancer in the long run by exposing them to radiation. So that is the end of your Unit 3 study guide. I hope this helped you guys prepare for your test that's coming up. If you have any questions or are confused about any of the answers, please send me an email and let me know.